पढ़ाई और भी मज़ेदार हो जाए जब खुद अवस्थी सर पढ़ाएं। उनसे जुड़ने के लिए उनके चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन को दबाएं उनके लेक्चर्स को सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
Hello everyone, welcome back to the next lecture of network analysis and synthesis. In the last lecture we have discussed a very important concept of supernode. In today's lecture we are going to take up the topic that is super mesh. Now first of all, as I always say, it is very important to understand when and how a super mesh is formed. So a super mesh is formed when a current source exists between any two meshes in a complex circuit. As in, for example, I'll take up a very basic circuit and explain you how a super mesh is formed. For example, this is my circuit and there is a current element here, and this happens to be like this. This is a very basic circuit. I have taken up this circuit to explain you the concept of super mesh. Here what you can observe is there is a current source between two meshes. This is mesh 1 and this is mesh 2. Likewise, in case of super node, there was a voltage source between two nodes. This was the case for super node, where a voltage source was present between two nodes. In case of super mesh, a current source is present between two meshes. Right? In the case of super node, any element that was in parallel to this voltage source was included again in super node. Likewise, in case of a super mesh, if you have any element in series, mind it, if you have any element in series with the current source placed between two meshes, then that element as well qualifies as an element for the super mesh. So in short, as far as the summary is concerned, you can say that if a current source and a passive element in series with a current source exists between any two meshes, in that case we say a super mesh is formed. Fine. Now since the super mesh is formed, we need some circuit methods to solve it. Like in case of super node, we were performing normal node analysis and we were excluding this super node. When we were operating with node analysis between node 1 and 2, which happened to be our super node, we were neglecting this voltage source. We were applying KCL at this point and again KCL at this point simultaneously, and we were adding the two equations. Likewise, when we are dealing with a super mesh, we need to apply KVL. Here we need to apply KVL, and while applying KVL, what we need to do is we need to neglect this part. We need to neglect this part. This part is neglected, and what we do is we apply KVL like this. We start with this element, say this is V, this is R1, this is R2, this is V2. The mesh current here is I1 this way. The mesh current here is I2 this way. So in case I am applying the concept of super mesh and I am applying KVL in the super mesh. Now mesh 1 and 2 together they form a super mesh, and the equation of the KVL will be starting from this point, V1 minus I1 R1. Now we'll be proceeding with this mesh as well simultaneously. This will be minus R2 minus of I2, since the direction of the current is different, minus V2 is equal to 0. So we'll be getting V1 minus I1 R1 plus I2 R2 minus V2 is equal to 0. So this is how we'll be proceeding in case we encounter a super mesh. Now again we need one more equation, which we have called it as constraint equation. So we need a constraint equation as well. Like in case of super node, we were applying node analysis, and in the super node we had to apply KVL. Likewise, in super mesh we are applying KVL, but still we need to apply KCL at any point. This point can be anywhere. We can apply KCL at this point. This value is say I. So again, all the incoming currents and the outgoing currents will be same. So at this node, the incoming currents are I plus I1 plus I2 is equal to 0. So this way we will be getting one more equation. Fine. So in case of super mesh, we again apply both KVL and KCL. The priority is KVL, but for constraint equation we need KCL as well. Fine. I hope the concept is a little bit clear. It will be more clear with this example. I have taken a question for you. A very basic question. Now see. This is the question and we have to find the currents in all the loops. So let's start. As far as starting is considered, we can take this current as I1, this current as I2 and this current as I3. Fine. If the currents are not given, we can take currents the way we like to. Fine. Now what we see is there is a current source between mesh 1 and 2. This is mesh 1, this is mesh 2 and this is mesh 3. And there is a current source between mesh 1 and 2. Now this current source is a floating source. Like we were having a floating voltage source in super node, we have a floating current source in super mesh. What we need to do is, first of all, as you can see, mesh 3 doesn't have any extra current source or whatever. So I'll first be applying KVL at mesh 3. It will be relatively easy for all of us. Let's start from this point. First of all, it will be minus 60 I3, right? It will be, we are moving this way, minus 60 I3. Then I encounter a voltage source. Since I'm moving from positive to negative, so this will be minus 90. Again, I encounter a current source, that is minus 30. Now, in mesh analysis, I have told you earlier also that we have to give preference to the current of the mesh that we are in. We are in mesh 3. So in that case, I3 will be given preference. So I would rather write I3 minus I2 is equal to 0. Fine. 30 say we can divide it. So this will be minus 2I3 minus 3 minus I3 minus I2 is equal to 0. On solving the equation, I get minus 2I3 minus 3 minus I3 plus I2 is equal to 0. This simplifies as I2 minus 3 I3 will be equal to 3. Right? This is how the equation will be formed. I2 minus 3I3 is equal to 3. So this is my first equation. This is my first equation. Right? Now we have to deal with the super mesh. Now please watch very carefully. I am applying KVL in super mesh. I am applying KVL in super mesh. Now what is the super mesh? See, I am numbering it A, B, this is C, this is D, E, F, G, H. So my super mesh is A, C, F, H. This is my super mesh, right? This is my super mesh now. This is how I am going to proceed while applying KVL. So let us start from this point. First of all, it will be 30 volts. This is minus plus, this is 30. Then minus 5 I1, right? Next, this is minus 20 I2. This will be minus 20 I2. I have moved on to this element. See, I have left this element. This element has been left while applying KVL. Fine. Next, I'll get minus 30. I'll have to give preference to I2. So it will be I2 minus I3. Fine. Is equal to 0. Right? We can solve this. 30 minus 5 I1 minus 20 I2 minus 30I2 plus 30I3 is equal to 0. Minus 5I1 minus, this will be minus 5I1 minus 20I2 minus 30I2. This will be minus 50I2 plus 30I3 plus 30 is equal to 0. So this equation will be 5I1 plus 50I2 minus 30I3 is equal to 30. If I divide it by 5, this will be I1 plus 10I2 minus 6I3 is equal to 6. So this happens to be your second equation, right? Now see, I have got 2 equations and 3 unknowns, so I am not in a position to solve it. I need one more equation. If I have n variables, I need n equations to solve the value of every variable. Here, from the 2 equations, I can see that I have I1, I2 and I3, but still I have 2 equations. Now, where to get the third equation from? Now comes the role of KCL. Now I can apply KCL at any point. What I would prefer this point. Let's apply KCL at this point. KCL at, say, G. What will be the equation? What are the incoming currents? What are the incoming currents? At this node, 10 ampere is incoming, right? And this I2 is again incoming, and this I1 is outgoing. So 10 ampere is incoming, plus I2 is incoming, and your I1 is outgoing. So from here I get my third equation. This is my third equation. Now students, you can clearly see we have got 3 equations and 3 unknowns. You can solve all the 3 equations and identify the value of I1, I2 and I3. Fine. You can use your calculators for solving the equations. There is no need to solve the equations simultaneously. In first year of your engineering, you must have learned the concept of solving these simultaneous equations involving more than 2 variables through a calculator. So you can use a calculator and find the value of I1, I2 and I3. Fine. I hope the question helped you understand the concept in a better way. Let's take up another question with a increased difficulty level. This is the second question that I have taken up, and see, in this question, as I've told you in the theoretical part of the explanation, I have a resistance in series with a current source, and both these resistance are present between 2 meshes. And this happens to be a mesh and this happens to be another mesh. Now let's first assume the currents in these meshes. Let this be I1 this way, let this be I2 this way, and let this be I3 this way. These are the mesh currents. Fine. Now see, there is a super mesh. There is a super mesh between mesh 2 and mesh 3. You can clearly see that a super mesh is present between mesh 2 and mesh 3. Clear? Now let's start with the basic rule. We have to apply KVL. So first let us take the mesh which does not have any current element, and that is mesh 1. Let's apply KVL at 1. It will be 10 minus 20 I1 minus 30 I1 minus I3 will be 0. Again, I have to give preference to mesh 1, to current 1 while I am operating on mesh 1. On solving, I will get 10 minus 20 I1 minus 30 I1 plus 30 I3 is equal to 0. This becomes 50 I1 minus 30 I3 is equal to 10. This becomes my first equation for analysis. This becomes my first equation. Now, the most important step, apply KVL at super mesh. Now I am applying KVL at super mesh. First of all, I am highlighting the super mesh. For your convenience, I am highlighting the super mesh. See, mesh 2, a super mesh is formed between mesh 2 and 3. So I'll have to first highlight the super mesh. This will be your super mesh. And the way I am highlighting the super mesh, I'll be proceeding with the KVL in the exactly same manner. Fine. Shall let's start with the KVL. Sorry, I'll be starting from this point. First of all, I should write minus 40I2. Right. Next, I'll be moving this way, and I'll be leaving this part and directly moving to this one. This will give me minus 30. And since I'm moving this way, so I'll be preferring this current. This will be I3 minus I1. Right? Next, I'll be moving this way and I'll encounter a minus 60 I3, right? Then I'll move this way, I'll reach here, I'll get minus 30 I3, and then again I'll reach my starting point. This will be equal to 0. Fine. Please, I'm explaining it again. There is a super mesh between mesh 2 and mesh 3. So I am kind of neglecting these elements. I'm not considering these elements while applying KVL. And I'm applying the KVL on the part that is highlighted from yellow color, right? Now let's solve this equation. This will be minus 40I2 minus 30I3 plus 30I1 minus 60I3 minus 30I3 is equal to 0. I3 will be 60, 30, 30. This is 120. This will be 30I1 minus 120I3 minus 40I2 is equal to 0. I can wave off the 0 from the entire equation. I will get 3I1 minus 4I2 minus 12I3 is equal to 0. So this happens to be my second equation. See, I had to find, I have not written the question, I have just explained you through a diagram. In this question, they can ask anything. They can ask you the mesh currents, all the three currents. They can ask you the current in any particular resistance. For example, if they say find the current in the 50 ohm resistor. This is the 50 ohm resistor. What will be the value of the current in 50 ohm resistor? The value of the current in the 50 ohm resistor will be, this will be I2 difference I3. If you are preferring, you have to mention the direction. I2 difference I3 means you are finding the current in this way. Fine. So there is no problem. If such a question comes in GATE examination, you will get an appropriate option correct. They will tell you the direction in which they want the answer. In case a question like this comes in your semester examination, you can take any arbitrary direction. What you need to do is you just need to mention the direction. In case the examiner wants the answer in a different direction, your answer will automatically be negative. So that is not a problem at all. Fine. Now again, if I need to find I20, I need to find I2 and I3. Abhi I have got two equations and still there are three unknowns. So I need to apply KCL. Now the important step, I need to apply KCL at any of the nodes. So what I can do is I can select this node. This could be a better option for applying KCL. So if we apply KCL at this point, what are the incoming currents? 10 ampere is the incoming current. This I3 is again an incoming current, so plus I3. And what are the outgoing currents? This I2 is an outgoing current. This is I2. So this is my third equation. This is my third equation. Now you can see I've got three equations. I've got three equations and three unknowns. I can find the values of I1, I2 and I3. You can again use a calculator to find these values. No issues. Fine. I hope the concept is clear through this question also. In the previous question, I didn't consider a resistor at this part. At this part, there was no resistor. So that was type 1. In type 2, I have taken a resistor in series with a current source. Fine. So this qualifies as type 2. Now there is a very common doubt in your minds, in most of the students' mind. Will this super node and super mesh be applicable in case we are dealing with dependent sources? The answer is yes. Both the super node and the super mesh concept is applicable with dependent sources as well. The condition remains same. In the previous lecture, we did discuss a question that involved a dependent source for the super node case. In today's lecture also, I will be taking up another question that deals with a dependent source and again a super mesh together. So please don't make a perception that this super node and super mesh is applicable only for independent sources. It hardly matters whether your source is dependent or independent. What matters is the understanding of the concept, the logic. If you are able to identify the rules which qualify or help a mesh or node to become a super mesh or super node, then this independent or dependent source won't matter. So in the next question, the third question that I'll be going to take up, we'll be taking a dependent source for your better understanding. So let's take another question. This is another question that we'll be considering in today's lecture. We'll be taking up this question now. Now see, in this question, you can clearly see that there is a dependent current source, and this dependent current source is present between two meshes, right? So this condition again qualifies as a super mesh. But before starting, see, I have to find the value of Ix. This is what I have to find. Before starting, I can make a small manipulation in my circuit. What I can do is, I can convert this current source into a voltage source. That will help me simplify the circuit in a better way. So let's redraw the circuit, and the circuit would be somewhat like this. I'm just quickly drawing the circuit. This is 20. This happens to be the value of fine. This is 25. Now this will be 5 and this will be a voltage source. So this is how my circuit will be transformed. The value of the voltage source will be 25 volts. In series, there will be a resistance of say 5 ohms, and now this 25 ohm resistance will be as it is. Now the rest of the circuit will be as it is. This is 20 ohms, this is 10 ohms, this is my Ix, this is my 1.5 Ix, right? Now you can see we have got 3 meshes, right? This is say I1, this is say I2, and this is I3. And a super mesh is formed between mesh 2 and mesh 3. Clear? A super mesh is formed between mesh 2 and mesh 3. Now, if you clearly observe mesh 1, you can conclude that I1 is nothing but 2 ampere. So I get the value of I1 right way. I1 is 2 ampere. Fine. Next, what I need to do is I need to apply KVL in the super mesh. Now, clearly see how I am applying the KVL. I am starting from this point. I am just highlighting the super mesh part. This forms my super mesh. This yellow highlighted part forms my super mesh. Let's see. This will be minus 20 I2. Again, minus, this is I3, minus 25 I3. Minus 5 I3, minus 25, minus 10. I'll have to prefer I2. I2 minus I1 is equal to 0. Fine. This will be my equation. Let's solve it. This gives me minus 20 I2, minus say 30i3, I've combined these two terms, minus 25, this will be minus 10i2 plus, in place of I1, if I put 2, so this will be I2 minus 2 and minus 10. So this will be minus 10i2 plus 20 is equal to 0. Solving, I'll get, this is 30i3, this is 30i3, this again is 30i2, this is 30i2, and this will be 5. This will be 5, I guess. Minus 5 equal to together, it will be 5. Fine. So this way I can modify my equation. Clear hai na? Very simple. I'm again repeating it. I have started from this point. This is minus 20i2. This is minus 30i3. This is minus 25. This is minus 10. I2 minus I1. I2 is this way and I1 is this way. So this will be minus 10 I2 minus I1. So this will give me minus 10 I2 plus 20. So minus 10 I2 minus 20 I2 is, minus 20 I2 and minus 10 I2 will be minus 30 I2. Minus 10 I2 minus 20 I2 is minus 30 I2. And this is minus 30 I3. And this will be equal to 5. So there will be a negative sign here. I can take 5 common. So it will be minus 6 I3 minus 6 I2 is equal to 1. And in short, my equation will be 6 I2 plus 6 I3 plus 1 is equal to 0. So this is the second equation that I get. This is the second equation that I get. Again, I have 3 unknowns. I have got only 2 equations. I need one more equation. So for that equation, I need to apply KCL. Sometimes I'll be getting the value on applying KCL only at one point. Sometimes I need to apply KCL at many points. Now see here what happens. See, I have to find Ix. So let's apply KCL first at this point. On applying KCL, I get Ix is the incoming current. So this will be Ix, right? I2 is again the incoming current. So this is I2 and I1 is the outgoing current. Fine. So this is what I get. Ix is this way. Now again, I can apply KCL at this point as well. I can apply KCL at this point as well. In case I do this, I get 1.5 Ix. 1.5 Ix. Right? This should be equal to, this is the outgoing current. The incoming currents are, this can be I3 minus I2. See, I2 is also this way, I2 is going this way, I2 is going this way, I3 is going this way. Fine. And this is going this way. So incoming current is I3 and the outgoing currents are 1.5 Ix and I2. Incoming current is I3 and the outgoing currents are 1.5 Ix plus I2. So I have got these equations as well. I have got these equations as well. Right? So see, I have got this equation, 2 this equation, this is third equation, and this happens to be my fourth equation. Technically, I have got 4 unknowns, I1, I2, I3 and Ix. Right? I have got I1, I2, I3 and Ix. What I can do is I can replace Ix with I1 minus I2. I can use equation 2. This way I can use equation 2 here and I can substitute the value of Ix here. If I do so, I'll get I3 minus I2 is 1.5 times of Ix and Ix is I1 minus I2. Now you can say that I've got 3 equations. I've got 3 clear equations through which I can find the value of I1, I2 and I3. One equation is this, the other one is this, and this was the third one. Fine. So again I have got 3 equations and 3 unknowns. I can easily find the value of Ix. I'm telling you the answer. You can solve it. You will get Ix as 8 0.33 amperes. This will be the value of Ix. You can solve it by your own. You'll be getting this answer. No issues. It's simple calculation. I hope and wish that you don't have any problem in solving these equations. See, the difficult part is to understand the concept of supermesh and supernode. Many a times it happens with many students that they know the concept but they're not able to reach a particular answer. Reason being, they're not well versed with the use of the calculators in solving the simultaneous equations. So I would again suggest, go through different lectures. There are n number of lectures on YouTube which can help you understand how to use a scientific calculator and solve the equations. There is no need to worry about it. It's very easy. In case you want, even I can make a lecture on it, but I think most of the students by now will be well versed with the use of the calculator. Fine. With this, we come to the end of the concept, that is mesh analysis. Right? Now, as far as unit 1 of your syllabus is concerned, only 2 topics are left. One is how to solve node and mesh analysis through matrix method, and the second one is duality. Rest all the topics of unit 1 are complete. Maybe in next 2 lectures we'll be done with unit 1. One very important announcement: whenever we'll be completing a unit, the next class will always be a live YouTube session. In the live YouTube session, I'll be revising the entire unit in a single shot. There is no time constraint. We can extend the lecture to as many duration as we want. So once we are done with this unit 1, 2 topics are left. You'll be getting a lecture. Now the frequency of the lecture will increase because we are almost at the end of the lecture. In the live YouTube session, I'll be revising all the concepts with examples, obviously with examples, and those examples will definitely be different than the examples that I've already discussed in my lectures. Fine. So in order to be updated, you need to subscribe the channel. Fine. I hope the lecture was fruitful enough for you. In case you have any query, like most of the students are doing, they are dropping in your query in the comment section. You can too drop your queries in the comment section. If you have any suggestions regarding anything, you want me to take up more questions, you want me to make shorter lectures, or whatever you want. The motive for this series is कि सभी बच्चों को network analysis and synthesis का डर हट जाए. In second year, when you come, your seniors tell you that this is going to be a hard nut to crack. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. अगर आपको बेसिक्स पता है, बेसिक नॉलेज है, जो लोग ये लेक्चर पहली बार देख रहे हैं, they can go on the playlist and they can watch the first 2 lectures of the network analysis, जहां पर मैंने basic concepts discuss किए हैं. All the lectures are interconnected to each other, so don't skip a lecture. Watch it, and I'm damn sure that all your queries and the concepts will be clear. If you find the lecture worthy enough, do like it, share it, and subscribe the channel. Stay healthy and steady well. Thank you.